I have a new goal, and it's one that I would like you all to join in with, if you're up for it.
It's not to see how fit I can get in the space of 10 weeks. It's not to run a fast half marathon, nor to do my best at a Grand Fondo or Sportive.
There is no fixed date for this goal. In fact, the end goal is the end of life, and pushing that as far into the distance as I possibly can. How? By learning about the changes we can all make to push our end of lives further into the distance, be that exercise or food or sleep or just general lifestyle changes that should make a difference and allow us to live the longest, healthiest lives we can. How much difference can these things make? Well, over the course of this series, for the next 6 months or so, my aim is to find out what difference they can make.
There are a number of key markers that doctors and physiologists can look at with which they can make a pretty accurate estimate of how long you're going to live. So in no particular order, they are VO2 Max, i.e. maximum amount of oxygen your body can use during high intensity exercise, muscle mass, so the total weight of muscle in your body, leg strength, which will enable mobility in old age and prevent unnecessary falls, balance, which relates in many ways to general strength, and finally, grip strength.
Bit of a weird one that, but lots of studies have shown a strong correlation between grip strength and mortality. And some doctors even say it's a better indication of life expectancy than blood pressure. Anyway, it's time for me to find out through a series of tests where I lie in all of these key markers.
Before I get on to those tests though, I'm going to give you a very brief snapshot of where I'm at now and how I got here. So I was an active child participating in a multitude of sports, but I ended up focusing on cycling, where I was fortunate enough to have a professional career. That career ended when I was 32, and since then, my relationship with exercise has been sporadic, I would say, if I'm being generous. So I've dabbled with some running, a bit of cycling, and the very occasional strength session, but there have been very long periods where I've done little to no exercise at all. I just had no goals to aim for, basically. However, what I have been very consistent at doing, without any goal or purpose, is drinking quite heavily and burning the candle at both ends. And being completely honest with you all, and I've never actually mentioned this in public before, I also smoked quite heavily between 2012 and 2020. Now, I did eventually manage to quit, thankfully, but since then I've been on nicotine replacements, which I'd also like to quit in the very near future. Now, the point of giving you this background is really just to show that I have my own vices, despite my early years spent as a clean living full-time athlete. Now, some of you watching this will never have smoked in your life or never drunk alcohol in your lives, but maybe you struggle with getting things right with food or sleep or motivation or anything in between. The point is that most of us have something that we would genuinely like to change for the better. Don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm in a really bad place, not at all. I've just arrived at a time in my own personal life where I would like to do better. I assure you though that this series is not going to be about living like a monk or becoming perfect. It's about making a number of fairly small and simple changes in lifestyle that should add up and I guess compound over the coming years and decades hopefully to make a really big difference. So wherever you're at in life, I would absolutely love it if you came on this journey with me. And if you know anyone that's looking to make some changes in their own life right now, why not share this video with them? Sometimes you just need a really small nudge, a small bit of encouragement to set you along the right path and along your way. Oh, just one last thing, I'm 43. Now, to some of you watching this, that is going to sound very old. To others, it's going to sound very young. Either way, I'm not as fit as I used to be, and I feel the need to do something about it. Right, time now to find out where I'm personally at physiologically.
I've arrived at the Manchester Institute of Health and Performance, which is operated by Nuffield Health, who are the UK's largest healthcare charity. They're non-profit and their aim is to build a healthier nation, which seems perfect for this series of videos. I'm going to meet a guy called Connor, who will be putting me through my paces. A few tests to find out where I'm at, what I most need to improve, and we'll have those baseline figures then, so I can see how much I do improve over the next 6 months or so. It's going to be painful but interesting. So first things first, a blood test and a urine test, the results of which I will get at a later date. Both there just to find out if there's any major problems that I need to address. I'd now like to introduce you to Connor, who's going to be conducting a lot of the rest of the tests for the rest of today. The first of which is...
a DEXA scan. Yeah, so a DEXA scan is kind of the gold standard measurement for body composition. So we get a really good measurement of your body fat, visceral fat. We can even do things like your bone density and things like that too.
Does it measure overall muscle mass?
Yep. Yeah, it does the works. You're not going to get a much more gold standard test than this for body comp. So it's a really simple test. You just basically take your clothes off, lie down on the bed for 5 minutes, and we let a small amount of x-rays just scan your whole body.
Easiest part of the day then, by the sounds of it.
5 minutes, relax.
The difference between visceral fat and body fat is...
They're used for slightly different things. So your body fat can be used as like an overall like measurement of your health, whereas we know your visceral fat tends to have a slightly higher risk with most diseases. So you can use that in combination with like other body composition measurements, like your BMI, like your waist size, to give you kind of more overall structure of your health and general disease risk.
Brief interlude. Time to introduce a sponsor of this series. Before I do that though, I just want to say how important our partners are to us in what we do here at GCN. Without them, there is simply no way that we can make all the free to view content that we do. But I really want to emphasize to all of you, we only ever work with great companies who make products that we really want to use. So on that note, this series is sponsored by Whoop, who make this fitness tracking and fitness coaching wearable device. I have personally used mine non-stop for over 2 years now, and it really has been quite enlightening in a number of ways. Particularly, I will say, in highlighting to me how much alcohol affects my sleep and pretty much every other parameter of recovery. Like many people, I feel like the lights literally and metaphorically go out when I go to bed after an evening of drinking. But the reality is that my heart rate at rest is about 10 beats per minute higher than it normally would be. My breathing rate is significantly higher, and the quality of my sleep is significantly lower. Heart rate variability also plummets. Now, it hasn't stopped me drinking completely. I still love going out with mates, but it certainly made me cut down a bit and much more aware of what it's doing to me. So I'm going to be using my Whoop to track everything that I'm doing over the next few months and indeed monitor any positive changes that occur. I will also be speaking to an expert from Whoop in one of the next episodes to see what they make of my data from the last couple of years where I've been wearing it. But in the meantime, back to the tests.
Yeah, so your body fat percentage total sits at 19.1%.
Is it really? Christ.
It will, like, the reference ranges for how healthy that is depends on your age. But we'd expect for most people, especially like the younger people, for their body fat to be below 22%.
Yeah.
So yours is, definitely within a healthy range for someone of your age and gender, which is great. So we're just going to do your waist size next, which is a really, really simple measure, but actually really important for your health.
I'm sort of not liking the sound of this because whilst I haven't put much weight on over the last 12 years, where I have put it on is just around there.
Yeah, so I think it's a blessing and a curse. Like you say, some people find it scary because, okay, well, if my waist size is elevated, then all these other things are also going to increase. But you can apply the reverse logic as well. So by making a few very, very, very small changes to things like your waist size or your blood sugars or your blood pressure, then all of a sudden you can reduce your risk of quite a lot of diseases quite quickly too.
Okay, fair enough.
We can have a look now at like your force plate data. We're going to do an IKD as well.
It's quite a mental build-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doing a few minutes warm-up on the bike and on a couple of the machines here because the next test I'm going to do, a kind of maximal force test or maximum strength test. There's a real risk I might pull something, even with a warm-up, but hopefully less likely.
All right, Dan, so what we're gonna do here is an isometric mid-thigh pull. Your task is to basically drive through the floor with as much force as possible, and allows us to have a look at your lower limb force production capabilities. So when I say 3, 2, 1, go, you're gonna rip the bar up, drive down through the floor, and you're gonna have the maximal force production for about 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm already nervous.
Nice, pull, drive, up, and relax. Yes, much better. So next time we're going to be doing an isokinetic dynamometer. It allows us to look at your maximal force production in your quads and your hamstrings in both the right and the left leg. So you're going to be kicking and pulling as hard as you possibly can, but now you're nice and secure in this chair, and we're going to measure your force production when you're doing the flexion and extension.
Yep.
We can have a look at the data and see how the limbs differ in both the quads and the hamstrings, and then we can have a look at your total force production relative to your body weight as well, which is a really, really useful measure as to how well you can produce force, essentially.
Okay. And how many reps?
So you're going to be doing a warm-up set of 5 reps, where you're going to start off at 50% and then just work slowly up to 100. And then when we do the working set, 5 reps, all out, push, pull as hard as you possibly can.
Okay.
All right?
Happy?
I think so, yeah.
So if you just extend up as far as is comfortable for you. That's it. And then if you pull your heel all the way back to the chair. Yeah. 2, 1.
Go on, Dan, let's go. Kick. Yes, pull. Nice, good start. Push, Dan. Go on, all the way, pull. Go on, max effort here, Dan. Come on, kick.
Come on, 2 more.
Good effort, come on. Go on, Dan, keep it up. Push. Come on, Dan, last one. Pull. Yes, good effort. We'd expect people's deficits to be within like 10%. On your quads, your deficit is 5%.
Okay.
And your flexion is 4%.
Okay,
so, yeah, your hams and quads are very, very symmetrical. But if anything, the overall production could be improved a little bit, but they're still really good values.
Okay. Well, hopefully they'll improve over the next 6 months.
Fingers
That's
crossed.
the aim.
We want you to start at a cadence around 85 to 90. You might find yours a little bit higher than that. That's absolutely fine. We'll figure out what's kind of comfortable for you in the first couple of minutes. Once we found that cadence, just hold it.
Okay.
Hold it. Every 15 seconds, the wattage is going to go up by 5 watts.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that is right, the right way around. And then so it's basically 20 watts every minute, and we just keep going until you can't go anymore, or until we see that the cadence drop by 10.
I think it will probably be around 80.
Absolutely fine.
Comfortable
Whatever's
cadence.
comfortable for you, and then once we found that in the first couple of minutes, we just ask you to hold it.
Okay.
All right. We'll start the test now. That's you cycling 75 watts for a minute. Yeah, that cadence seems to be sitting around 80, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, so just 15 seconds left of the warm-up. So you're cycling at 80 watts now. You're going to feel a slight bit more resistance coming through the pedals in 3, 2, 1. So that's increased by another 5. That's 95. That's 100. So that's 20 watts in 1 minute, okay? Cadence is sitting really nice there, around 82, 83. Really nice, Dan. That's 9 minutes. Really good stuff. Really good, Dan. I can see it's getting tough, but that cadence is still holding, so let's just keep pushing through. Really nice. And Dan, up. Come on, let's get that cadence up. Up. Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan. Drive. Come on. As much as you can push now. Push. Go on, Dan. Last little bit. Come on. Go on, Dan. Drive. Come on, push. Go on, Dan. Last little bit. Come on. Keep working. Go on, Dan. Up. And stop there. Really good stuff, mate. Well done. Really good work, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
God, it just bites so quickly at the end, you forget.
Yeah, it's the nature
Like,
of a max
this
test,
is
isn't
good,
it?
this
You're
is
fine
good, this is
until
good,
you're
this
not.
Yeah.
To be honest, you actually hit your max a long time ago. Like your aerobic capacity, at that end point there, you were working anaerobically, which is fine, it's why you can carry on. But on the bike, we just let you go until you can't go anymore because it's good for you to give it a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see like we're looking for this crossover and we want this like VO2 here to plateau out. And you can see it did quite a while ago. And even your RER value. So we normally say you've reached max when you're at an RER over 1.15. And you did that in minute 9.
What's RER, sorry?
So your RER is your respiratory exchange ratio. It's basically the contribution of like fats versus carbohydrates you're using. So an RER value over of 1.15 implies that you're using purely carbohydrates and no fats. So we have some termination criteria for like saying you've hit VO2 max.
Yeah.
We want this VO2 to plateau. We want a RER value over 1.15, and we want like your blood lactate and your heart rate to be near max as well. So without me even going into the data, I can probably say quite confidently here we have hit your VO2 max. We'll need to actually just dive into the numbers in the Excel spreadsheets, figure out what that is, but we'll get that into the report for you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Colin, I think.
No problem at all. Yeah, good
Thanks,
job.
Fran.
Really good job.
So I haven't done one for 13 years. Now I'll be doing 2 in the space of 6 or 7 months. Lovely. So final one. I've showered, I've sort of recovered. VO2 max results.
Yeah, looking very good. So your VO2 max value for a male of your age comes in at 52.2 millilitres per kilogram per minute, which puts you in the excellent category, which is the highest there is. So given the sort of relationship between like fitness and disease, and along with all the other metrics we saw today, it puts you in like a really, really good place.
And what sort of room for improvement is there? I think my last VO2 max test obviously was during my time as a full-time athlete, and it was low 70 somewhere, so obviously it's going to have fallen from there. Given that I haven't done huge amounts of exercise for the last few years, what would you imagine there is in terms of buffering room at the top end there?
Yeah, your VO2 max, the absolute value, will unfortunately reduce with your age, but in relative terms, you still are able to improve that, I would say. Your result comes in at 52.2. The excellent range starts at 51, so at the lower range of that. So although it still is in the excellent range, if you wanted to improve it further by just doing some more general exercise, then I'm sure you'll be able to increase that a little bit more.
Okay, good to know. Well, I'll be trying to do that for the next 6 months. And breathe. Now, I'm not going to go through the results of those tests in great detail right now. I'll save that for episode 2. But as a brief summary, I'm not in a bad place. And I think much of that is probably due to the foundations that I had from being a full-time athlete through to my early 30s. However, in the 12 years since then, well, I've now got 4 times as much body fat as I had when I retired, and my VO2 max has gone down by 20 points. So there are already things that I want to improve on, things that I want to slow down in terms of my aging, maybe even stop, maybe even reverse. You never know. Now, if you're watching this video on a cycling channel, the likelihood is you're already exercising more than the average person in the population. But maybe you're not working enough on your overall strength or your muscle mass or your sleep's not very good. Whatever it might be, there are always things that we can work on to give ourselves a better chance at living longer. And more importantly than that, at living a really happy life. I'll finish episode 1 by answering a question that I think a few of you might be asking, which is, why now? Why not 5 years ago or even as soon as I stopped my cycling career? It's a good question. I think that I quite enjoyed rebelling against the life that I used to live. It was nice not to have to think about performance 24/7 or everything that I was putting into my body every day. I had no fitness goals, I had no reason to think about fitness. I ticked that part of my life off. And B, I've come to a realisation. The average male life expectancy here in the UK is 82. If I die then, it means I've already lived over half my life. I think I'd quite like to do everything I can to ensure I still have more than half of my life to come. The other thing is, I've been reading and listening to so much about what we can all do from a mental and physical standpoint to ensure that we do set ourselves up for later in life. And it's those sorts of things I'll be going through in future episodes. At the end of the day though, it doesn't matter when you start. It's never too late, it's also never too early. The important thing is just starting. So here I am, starting. and I really hope as many of you as possible will join in with me. I'll see you all in episode 2.